lot of the attacks against you were actually attacks against AfD, or Alternative for Deutschland, your party. I've been in Germany and I met some AfD people. The party's been around for about a decade or a little bit more, I think.
10 years this year.
And I think you have about 10% of the German parliament, if I'm not mistaken. So that's proportionately more than our NDP party or our Bloc Québécois. Those are just parties our viewers would know. So you're not the dominant party, but you would be a bigger player in the coalitions there than the NDP is here. You have about 300 officials in various, local or state. So, 300 elected officials, 10% of the parliament. It's not a dominant party, but it's a fairly substantial party that's been around.
Yes.
I don't think Canadians, or at least, I don't think Canadians know anything about the AfD. But the critics who were smearing it as some extremist, crazy thing, I think they just simply don't know.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting. So my party really started out, founded in 2013, Euro critics and EU critics, that got us labeled as enemies of Europe.
Yeah, that's what they said to the Brexiteers too.
We're not enemies of Europe. I love Europe. My party loves Europe. The EU is the enemy of Europe because they level it all. They want us all to be, look at a lot of people, they actually envy us, to be Europeans. We live on this rather small continent with so many languages, so many cultures, and so a rich history, in each and every country in Europe. And what they're doing, they want us to be all the same somehow, get rid of our national identity, of our cultural identity, for the greater good, of course, which is the Europe they dream of. But the EU, it is not an EU for the people, by the people. It is actually a Europe for the globalitarian elites, by the globalitarian elites. That's the thing. So,
and I think, it's funny, I was trying to think of a Canadian analogy to your party. The People's Party of Canada is sort of there, although they don't have any seats. So they're critics of open borders immigration. They're critics of the World Economic Forum and globalism.
Exactly.
They're a kind of People's Party. And I think that when I was looking at the criticisms of the AfD that were thrown against you, I think that was it. They were upset that you weren't in favor of mass immigration, and that you were upset you were strong for the separation of mosque and state. I think a lot of people support those views here in Canada too, even if our political class, maybe that's the thing. People in Germany, there is a party that has 10% of the seats that says those things. In Canada, none of the main parties even talk about open borders immigration or the separation of mosque and state. They just don't talk about it.
I know. But you know what? Looking at all these things, there is a common denominator. In all the countries where parties like my party or the CCP is coming about, the common denominator is we do not buy into the narrative. We expose the narrative, we expose the agenda, which their agenda has nothing to do with freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. On the contrary, it's about disenfranchising people, removing the democratic process further and further away from the people. They do not want political accountability anymore. That's really a pain in the neck to them, because they cannot just do whatever the heck they want to do. So if you look at these countries, or these parties in these various countries, they're all facing the exact same thing. They're being vilified, they're being called Nazis, they're being called extremists, transphobes, xenophobes, the whole shebang. And plus you have all this framing going on, Up until a few years ago, it was absolutely normal that a country would protect its national borders. What's the point of a national border? Is so the people inside can live freely and be safe at the same time. But once you tear down these national borders, no longer control them, and just anyone can walk in, then you will have to erect all kinds of borders within that country. What we're seeing in Germany, they're fencing off the Christmas markets now because some idiots think they can get on a truck and just, smash up the people for no reason whatsoever. you know? So these are things that are happening. And a national border, in essence, is nothing more than your locked door at your home. We wouldn't leave it unlocked and let anyone walk in, right?
Yeah.
Why should it be different with a national border? But the framing now is borders kill. You understand? So, and if you repeat it often enough, you know.
Borders kill. That's the slogan out there.
Yeah, borders kill.
I've never heard that. Over here.
It's ridiculous. In Germany, it's like, yeah, borders kill.
That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.